two, one. Hey, y'all. What's up? It's me, K, and I'm here as always with Alpha. What's up?
How we doing today? I got tagged in
Doing
the fucking forehead today, but I'm in for an episode already. Let's do this shit.
playing some boss airsoft paintball, something that double K double just don't do. I don't want the wells. I'm good. Like it's a great sport. I love to watch.
Yeah.
But I'm good on playing.
Quite the handful of pain. All right.
Unless there's a don't shoot me rule. I can play then where I can shoot everybody else, but none of them can shoot me. Like I can definitely play like that.
Right. It's called the Hogan rule. I'm going over, brother. That doesn't work for me.
Hey, brother, I'm a real American. Right? I fight for the rights of every
man. There it
is. All right. Anyway, well, this episode, folks, we're going to put the men in tights up on the shelf for a week, and we are going to discuss some TV, some Marvel and the Winter Soldier, some pardon me, some M. Night Shyamalan, the man who destroyed the Avatar series, but kind of made up for it with the movies Unbreakable, Glass, and Split. We're going to be reviewing Unbreakable today, and then after the break, we're going to come back and probably talk a little. I'm going to give you my review on Coming to America 2. Just watch that on Amazon Prime. And at the end of the show, we'll talk a little CW verse.
Fuck yeah, man.
But yeah, and no, sorry, DC fans, if you tuned in to see us talk Snyder Cut, that'll be in 2 weeks. Count 1, 2 weeks.
That'll be on the next comics episode, right?
Yeah. We'll get to that because we want time to digest it and analyze it. Like it
and
just
probably because
came out.
That episode will probably be all Snyder Cut, if I'm being quite honest, right?
Yeah, a 3.5 hour movie. Yeah. I can definitely think we can find at least an hour of shit to talk about within the 3.5 hour movie. Especially considering, I'll be honest with you, my interest in seeing it at this point comes more so from the reviews I've been seeing of it online and from personal people that I know that enjoy comic book movies, Suave, Saint, people like that have watched it and said, you know what, compared to the Wheaton version that hit the theaters that they put out, like this was boss. All right, well, you know what, I'll give it a chance because I'll be honest with you, like you can go back to the Raw Impact Unleashed. I destroyed Justice League. I destroyed the first Justice
Rightfully
League.
So.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Made no, So, want to say, so for me to go back and watch it again. All right, now this is your redemption arc. This is your opportunity to do it. So we'll see in 2 weeks. Tune in, find out if I still hate Justice League just as much as I hated it when I saw the Whedon cut with the Snyder cut. Everybody's saying no, I won't. We'll see.
Yeah. So I'm curious as to if this is going to be just like if the Wheaton version is just this but cut down. Is this going to be that? Except like, are we getting potentially like 1/3 of what we saw and then what was supposed to be there, or are we getting some real solid original shit that was completely unreferenced in the product that we were getting? And so that's what I'm interested in, because then at that point, that's where my judgment of if this is a K Double the Reckoning Part 2 or if this is going to be saved or not, you know.
No, for sure. I can understand you there. Like I'm looking at it, and that's why I'm giving it a chance, because at this point, from what I've heard, most of what I've heard is that it's the same movie but better, like better animations, deeper storylines, kind of fills a couple more plot holes than before. So we'll see, because like that was one of my biggest complaints, is I felt like it just plot wise it wasn't well written. You know, and so some people are saying that's because of how Joss Whedon chopped it up. Some saying Joss Whedon worked as an agent for Marvel to destroy that movie, make sure that Justice League was not going to be anywhere near what Avengers or any of that was, and he succeeded fully in that. But no. But at the end of the day, it should be good. It should definitely be good. Now, let's jump into this real quick. Man.
You're right.
Man, let me tell. All right. So I'm coming off of WandaVision. You know, I'm all up in my feels, you know, like just there. You know, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it takes your heart, it gently removes it from your chest, and then it laughs at you as it drops it on the ground and steps on it. And what I mean by that is this. Some of the opening scenes are just so heart-wrenching. Like it's a human, very, very human story. Like I saw a meme recently that said the first thing I've learned from Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the Avengers don't get paid. Like they don't.
Yeah.
Like Sam is broke. Like he's been Falcon. He saved the universe. He saved the world like 5 different occasions, and he's broke.
No money.
No money. Like it's just one of those realities that hits you smack dab in the center of the head, and you go, "Wow, dude!" Like you would think like it's an Avenger. Like there's no way dude's not getting like paid. He's not living a lavish life, but nah, dude trying to keep his business afloat just like everybody else.
And now suddenly people like Luke Cage and Iron Fist starting the Heroes for Hire doesn't seem so selfish anymore, right?
Exactly. So the thing that I liked about it is the way that it opened up was with basically Sam to an extent refusing the shield. They take you back to the, you know, audibly they take you back to the scene when Sam is given the shield and he's like, I just don't feel like it's mine. I feel like it belongs to somebody else. And the next scene that they show him in, he's in Washington and he's giving a speech. And he's giving the shield to the Smithsonian to put in an exhibit because he just said he doesn't feel like there should be anybody, there should ever be anybody other than Captain America to hold the shield. He goes on a mission where we remember why Falcon is Falcon. But I will give credit in this manner. I like the way the story is being told. And very similar to the movie that we're going to talk about next, Unbreakable. It's you're being told Falcon's story, Sam's story, and Bucky's story kind of at the same time, simultaneously. Like they have not come together yet. So it's not like you're being dropped into this whole situation where all of a sudden, boom, all of a sudden you coming in on this big adventure that Sam and Bucky are out on. No, dude. They like you're seeing them in their most real environments, in their home in their home, you know, spaces, well before you ever see them come together. It was one of those things where I was so impressed with the storytelling that it was kind of hard to even give as much props that are due to the action sequences. I felt that you see Bucky in therapy, like trying to work through like readjusting back to like civilization. Like you just it's just little things like the same way for me that WandaVision humanized the character of Wanda Maximoff. I feel like that's what this is doing for both Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like and for Bucky and for Sam. It's humanizing them. And I think that it's gonna make, once they do come together to become Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think that it's gonna be beautiful. But here's the funny thing. First of all, it's only 6 episodes, so this one's gonna go by quick. Second of all, dude, there's this scene. There's this scene where Bucky goes, he takes remote control of this woman's car, like almost runs her off of the top of a parking lot. He pulls her back in, parks right. She rolls down her window. The dude that's sitting in the passenger seat tries to attack him. He like takes the dude, breaks his arm, smacks him in the face. Right, looks over and he goes, now this is a part of my rehab. Like I have to make amends. My name is Bucky Barnes and I am no longer the Winter Soldier. And I was just like, what? No.
Oh, that's so good.
It was so amazing,
so fucking
to
good.
see, and just hilarious that it just drove me to the top, dude, of just saying this is what this show is going to be about, these types of moments. And it made me sad when I found out, like I said, 6 episodes is all we're getting. But I have this weird feeling that over the next 3 hours of watching this show, because each episode seems to be about 45 minutes, I think we're going to have an amazing story told to us. And just to close, before you give your thoughts, I told you at the beginning of the episode, Sam gives up the shield.
Right.
Well, at the end of the episode, they make this announcement that that fucking America needs somebody to protect it now. America needs a Captain America, and they present the new Captain America. Now, mind you, they have not told us who this dude is yet. He's holding the shield. He's basically wearing this black and dark blue version of Captain America's uniform. And that's the end. Like, that's, you just see him, and he's he's standing there, the new Captain America. And then all of a sudden it cuts to what I'll say, what are those damn thing called? Credits. Cuts to credits. So yeah, man. Yeah, so it was something worth watching. Yeah.
Okay, a good shit. I'm happy to hear that. And so I'm gonna be completely honest. I haven't seen the episode quite yet, so I plan on catching up by the next time we come around, right? But what I can do is give a bunch of speculation as someone who has done nothing but read the fucking comics. All right.
Okay.
So let's start rolling. Fair enough. So let's start rolling. So as something that I do want to contribute to begin with, though, I have been recently watching most of the Marvel collection of movies with my girlfriend as of recent, right? Okay. And so I'm picking up on a lot more little things. You know, as you go through these movies, you pick up on something new each time. And in my watching of movies like Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and the things that have come before it, since the introduction of Bucky Barnes as a character, or more accurately, the reintroduction of him in The Winter Soldier, you'll notice, for one, Falcon and Bucky Barnes is a real stable character, both debuted in the Winter Soldier movie, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I do believe so, yes.
Yeah. Yes. And from that point on, there is not a very clear emphasis or an ultra prominent one, but a pretty consistent joke about the relationship between Bucky and Sam. And their dichotomy of Sam being very empathetic and super, not soft, but like sort of being the runt of the group and being the most gentle. Whereas you have Bucky, who is extremely confused about his powers, but arguably the most physically imposing, right?
Right.
And so there's this constant push between the two of them. And in movies like Civil War, you have probably one of my favorite scenes when they're fucking tied to the floor by Spider-Man, and Sam just looks over at Bucky and he's like, "I fucking hate you." And he just says, "I hate you." And that's the closing scene for that moment, was just Sam looking at Bucky and saying, "I hate you." And all of that was just that little joke was enough to begin to set up things like this coming forward. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really digging that. And I really like... Go ahead.
Not to cut you off, I'll let you continue.
No, go. But, dig in real quick.
But on the same note, that there's a scene also, I believe it's in Winter Soldier as well, where they're on the run and they're dealing with Peggy Carter's niece, and she kisses Captain America, and they're sitting there, and I believe it's Bucky in the back seat and Sam's in the front seat, and Bucky says to him, like, "Hey, dude, can you push up your seat?" And he's like, "No." Just no. Like, no. That's how much I don't like you. I don't give a shit that you're uncomfortable. No. Like, it's just you're right. It's those little moments that lead us to where we're at. And I see something similar in the fact that, like I said, they're doing a good job. The showrunners of the first Daredevil did this very, very well. They kept Daredevil and Kingpin away from each other until like the final 3 episodes. You were told this story about these 2 different guys, and there was all these almost interactions until you finally had the. And I think it's going to be something similar. I don't think we're actually going to see them find each other until about maybe next episode, maybe episode 3. because I think there's a little bit more story to tell about them separately. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there about that other scene like that you were talking about.
Yeah, please. You're right. No, that's incredibly important to my point here, because that reinforces it. I dig that shit. Keep doing that. But keeping rolling with that. Now let's get into what I was going to go with next. Like I said, we talked about it when Jamel was here. Sam Wilson has been Falcon, yes. And in every restart of the Marvel Universe, he subsequently becomes Captain America every time, some way or another.
Right.
Very important on that terminology there. And so the sort of arc that he goes on when he becomes Captain America is kind of similar each time he does it. He becomes Captain America. They give him the new suit, the shield, and all the whole shit. And then he stops and he's like, what am I doing? I'm confused. I don't know how to handle this pressure, this power, or the weight of this shit. And he cracks under the pressure. Yeah. And so what it sounds like here is we're going for something in the opposite, where it's going to lead into him openly accepting the mantle of Captain America, rather than he takes the mantle and then finds his way with it. I think this is going to be him finding his way to it in a similar set of steps, much like how we talked about how WandaVision took the same end game that the comics had, but went about it in a different way that is both subverting to the hardcore and interesting to the casual.
Right. 100%.
Right. So rolling in with that now, not only that, but Captain America is also a mantle that has been handed down by a multitude of fucking people. Mm-hmm. So for one, obviously, we have Sam Wilson, right? So next, we'll go into the next obvious. Bucky has been Captain America multiple times as well.
Multiple times.
I said before, focus on the terminology of some way, shape, or form, because Sam Wilson usually becomes Captain America only after Bucky has first in the comics. Every single time either Cap dies or he can't be Captain America, guess who's next to be Captain America right away?
Yep.
Bucky. Every time. Much like how in the comics, every time Batman has been inoperable to be Batman, who has taken the mantle of Batman on a pretty consistent basis? Dick Grayson. It's kind of a given, right? Right. But thirdly, so there was someone who took the mantle of Captain America for a much shorter period of time and much less remembered fondly, is U.S. Agent, which is a really small-time character.
Yes.
But I do remember that he did take the official mantle of Captain America, even for a short time, and it is canon.
Yeah.
And so there are things like that to keep in mind. And as my final thought of speculation about this show, there is a character in the Marvelverse called the Red Guardian. And if you don't know about him, I'm going to teach you about the Red Guardian. He's just like Captain America, except much like that world in the DC universe where everyone is Russian, where Superman has a giant hammer and sickle instead of the S, where Batman has a Ushanka hat and shit like that. Red Guardian is Russia's answer to Captain America. Cold War jokes, right? Red Guardian, much like Captain America, is the super soldier with a shield, except he is Russia's patriot. And so if I don't see a nod to that somewhere going into this franchise, as it is probably the closest thing connected to Captain America going with the shows going forward, I'm gonna be mad. But I think that's my final thought of speculation rolling forward. For one last thing, after what you want to say, only because it's about the shows, but not about this particular one.
Okay.
The Marvel shows, I mean, the lineup. Go ahead.
Well, just my final thought is, I think Marvel's got another hit on its hands. Like I said, from storytelling to cinematography, the fight scene. Oh my God, I can't wait to see it. It's not even a fight scene, bro. The rescue scene with Sam Wilson, with Falcon, like chasing these guys out of a damn airplane. Like, like taking down into Sam Wilson is flying through these damn buildings. He comes up to this thing, and there's a helicopter, like an Apache, fully loaded, like 8 missiles, like turret guns, like Apache. And this fool's like, okay, dive, dip, okay, release the little thing out of my backpack. All right, it flies around the other side of the building, comes into the front of the helicopter, or no, the first time around it fired like 4 missiles at the damn helicopter, blew it up. He comes back, starts flying alongside him. He's like, all right, next, get the next one. And then he all of a sudden he starts getting shot at by another helicopter, by another Apache. That fool dips out the way. The little red thing fires out this little gun and goes and shoots off the damn propeller. And I'm just like, oh, now this damn. Like they showing you why Sam should be. Like why Sam 100% should be fucking Captain America. Like he's doing it. So, but at the end of the day, this show will be great. I think, like I said, I think Marvel's got about another 3.5 hour movie on its hand over the next 6 weeks. And I think that it's going to be highly impressive. And I believe we roll almost immediately into Loki as soon as Captain and the Winter Soldier is So your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, man. Okay, so in my rewatch of Endgame, I noticed 2 things. In the middle of the siege of Wakanda, or the final scene. I mean, no. It's not the final scene of Wakanda. What the fuck? That's in Infinity War. In the final fight on Titan, Sam Wilson fucking impales an alien with his wings, like they're fucking 2 swords. I never caught that in the original version. That shit scared me, if I'm being honest. But secondly, even more interestingly, if I'm late here and if I'm just being fucking like just inept, please correct me here. But I noticed something.
What's that?
In the absolute final scenes of Endgame, when Captain America goes back in time, right? And they do the whole, you should be back in 5 seconds, and then he doesn't come back, and then he reveals that he spent a whole lifetime with Peggy.
Yeah.
I caught something in that scene that I didn't catch last time.
What's that?
When he gets into the teleporter, right? He has his shield in the left hand, and he has Mjolnir in the right. He leaves, comes back with the shield, but not Mjolnir.
So, yeah, where'd it go? No.
See, it's not where did it go. It's more or less, I can already see it. If we're going with that, he's gonna fucking go back in time and give it to Jane Foster.
You think that's how they're gonna explain it in Thor: Love and Thunder?
Because remember what I said before. Lady Thor never uses Thunderstrike. Fucking what is his new one? Because Thunderstrike is the one in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
He doesn't. She doesn't use Stormbreaker, which is the new one in Endgame.
Yeah.
And she sure as hell doesn't use Beta Ray Bill's Golden Hammer. Every single incarnation of Lady Thor, Jane Foster, only uses Mjolnir.
So I wonder
how else are you gonna have her get Mjolnir other than that?
Wow.
Because they sure as hell didn't explain that.
They didn't. Because see, I kind of took it as this. Like, I expected I never went the route of female Thor. I always went the route of, we're going to see old man Cap show up with Mjolnir. Like, just ready to fight. Like, next Avengers level threat, we're just going to see old man Cap pop out. Bing. What's up?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Like, Thor's going to go wild. Whoa! Yeah. New Master 69, screw you. Anyway.
Fucking funny.
Which, by the way, 100% bravo to Marvel and their reveal of who New Master 69 was in the Xbox reveal or in the Xbox commercial. Like,
no shit.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You haven't seen that yet?
I did not see that.
You should look it up. You should look it up on YouTube. It should be up on YouTube. But it's basically Anthony Mackie is Sam, and he's coming back to find out like all the video games he's missed when he was gone for the blip, right? And the guy's like talking to him. He's like, yeah, he's like, oh, you want to play this game? And he's teaching him how to play Fortnite. He's like, yeah, man, I kick ass at this game. And he's like, yeah, man, I kind of like fucking with people. He's like, or messing with people. He goes, yeah, I use the screen name Noob Master 69. And it's just like, dun, dun, dun.
Kill Bill
Aaron
Sirens, like.
Aaron from GameStop is Noob Master 69.
Noob Master. That's
Only
so
thing
good.
that would have made it better is if Chris Hemsworth would have showed up behind him like, Dude messed
That would
up.
have been so fucking good.
Man. Oh man, but yeah, but no, that was great, and that was just kind of tied to Falcon and the Winter Soldier there.
Yeah, man.
All right. So now, Alpha made a request that we review the M. Night Shyamalan series, diving into comic books, the Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. And this week we're opening up with Unbreakable. I can honestly say this. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. And when I did see it, it was kind of on only as background. So for me, it kind of felt when I watched it this afternoon, I rented it off of Amazon, $3.99. Not bad. I want to say, I kind of felt like I was watching it for the first time. So like overall, I have to give this movie an A. Like just period. I can't say that it had the classic, like it didn't hit me like a bag of bricks, like with The Sixth Sense. Yeah, like the reveal at the end of The Sixth Sense kind of hit me like a bag of bricks, like because mainly because it was a flood of images back to my brain of all the moments that should have tipped me off to the fact
all of that, oh fucking wait moments, right?
Yeah, like came rushing back. I kind of feel like I caught most of the oh fucking wait moments throughout this, and I kind of felt like that was on purpose. Like the big reveal at the end was a big reveal, but to me, it wasn't as big of a reveal. It was a big reveal because I ended up being wrong with where I thought the movie was going, despite having seen the movie already. Now, mind you, full disclosure, before we continue on in the next few weeks with Split and Glass, I have not seen either one of those, so it will be the first time for me viewing it. But for this one, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I thought the movie was very, very interesting. Like I said, it took a little bit to pick up, but it really started picking up once he had that scene with the doctor, where the doctor was like, "Yeah, like." Everybody else is dead. Like one dude's head is crushed, and like
that shit hit you at point blank, and you're untouched. Yeah,
you don't have a scratch. Yeah, so like that's when shit started really picking up, and I enjoyed the movie from there on out. Bruce Willis made a very believable character. His son was just the cutest, like son of a superhero ever. Like he was just dad. He's like, I'm gonna trick you. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna add more weight. I'm gonna add more weight. Yeah, I added all of it. I know you said take some off, but I added all of it. Like, do it.
No, my favorite part of that is the never try this at home. Does it anyway?
But yes, definitely a very well told story. Like I said, the big twist at the end that Mr. Glass was really the villain. I'll say it like this. If you know how comic books are written, and you don't have to be a comic book writer, if you just read enough of them, if you know how comic books are written, it made sense that what they gave you of his story was more of a villain story. I misread it at the very beginning as that Glass was going to be kind of like the hero with Bruce Willis as David being the anti-hero and then McAvoy being the actual villain. I did not see it as Glass is the villain. Glass is Magneto to David's Professor X, so to speak. And so when they gave me that, that's what I said. That was more of a surprise to me that I was wrong about where the story was building to than it was the fact that Glass was the villain. Like, because after you think back over it all, it was like, okay, it made sense. Like, and especially the final reveal when they show you that he's the one that basically set up all of the killings. It was like, oh, yeah, of course. Nobody that's nice would do some shit like that. But overall, I would definitely give it my stamp of approval. Like, Unbreakable is a hell of a movie. Like, because I don't know, what would you do if you found out that like no bone and you just couldn't be hurt? Like you couldn't even remember the last time you got sick or got hurt. Like, what would you
Imagine
do?
that shit, right?
You know?
And see that's yeah, obviously at my request, I'm a huge fan of these movies, and I fucking love Unbreakable. The first one, I love the premise, and as you can see now, let's start with my first point going forward. I'm sure you can already recognize the staple of these movies in how they are named in correlation to who is in them.
Yes, very much so.
Unbreakable, Split, and then Glass. You understand it, right?
Right,
So
three
I'm gonna first go into like I really fucking like the performance on Bruce Willis's part here, because we have seen all these movies where Bruce Willis is very good at emoting himself. He's really good at facial expressions. He's really good at using his voice to convey the story better. And those are staples of Bruce Willis's work in my eyes. You know, if you look at all of his best movies, I think of all of his expressions and the way that he acts. He's not way the fuck out there, but he's just enough to fit in this kind of setting, I think. And it's really interesting because he went the opposite route in terms of his portrayal here. His character is this stiff, dry, deadpan, awkward, not dork, but just like out of place type of guy.
Yeah.
And I voiced it before. I love the archetype of a character who is amazing at combat and X, Y, and Z, but socially they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And he is that, right? and he is that. And so much like you talk about with almost the less is more tactic with things, Bruce Willis did that with his emotions here. See, like he has all of these deliveries that are robotic. And even when he's at the scene, when he's saving a child from their abductor, his delivery is still cold and stoic, right?
Yeah.
But then you get to the final scene where he slides his son over the newspaper of the report where he saved someone, and he just whispers, "You were right." And you can see it in his eyes that he is simultaneously scared, proud, and in pain all at once. And that's where I really feel that less is more tactic. And I really fucking liked that. And big part on the child actor as well. They did a really good job, especially in the really hard scene where he was threatening to shoot his own fucking dad just to prove that his dad was quite unbreakable, right?
Yep.
And so rolling into my next point here, you talked about how you predicted this and how this was going to work, and it wasn't too much of a big shock because you're a comics fan, right?
Yeah.
And so I do kind of like that, even though it does lead to the point where it's like it's kind of predictable for someone like me or you or Jamel, right?
Right.
But then for a casual audience, you can't really spin that. You know, for someone who really isn't deep into comics, this was probably way more shocking and way less predictable, right? And so it creates
M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, and so as someone who has studied movies and not cinematography, but the way that movies are made and the way that storytelling is structured, right, it for me creates this sense of irony almost, where the hardcore fans know knowledge that the casual fans will not. And it's not like we're not telling them, it's just, oh wait, I know this is how this is going to go.
Well, I can use
and real quick, and that was meant to happen because it twists. The twist comes, and how does Mr. Glass word it? You should have predicted this.
Yeah.
The villain is always the one with the opposite powers.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Well, no. I have one more thing with that, but yeah, you go break in.
Well, no. When you spoke about cinematography, there was one thing that came to mind when I first started watching the first few scenes of the movie, is the way the scene with him on the train is shot is very, very unique, because to an extent the scene was shot from the viewpoint of the kid that was sitting in the seat in front of him, because the kid kept going back and forth between who was talking.
It's quite literally from his it's his POV, right?
Right. And so because of that, for me, it made it a very unique experience in viewing it, and also gave you a very detached feeling when it came to Bruce Willis. Like you felt, by the end of the movie, you felt invested in this man as a character, but instead of immediately dropping you into being invested in him, they gave you this detached view of him leading up to the accident itself. They don't even, to be honest with you, like, I find that very unique that they didn't even show you the crash. They just show you him put his head up against the thing, and then next thing you know, the kid's watching the crash on the TV.
Well,
All of
most big
those
movies
little,
went for the big crash, right? The big
right,
scene.
and all of those little scenes, little things. Like I've always said this. Like I've always felt like the scene with Gamora, and I believe it was Infinity War with Baby Gamora.
Yeah.
Where they kind of show how her and Thanos met. I
Yeah.
felt that was a very, to not overuse a word, but a very humanizing scene for Thanos.
Yeah.
I felt very similar with the scene when Glass falls down the stairs. That was despite him ending up being the villain, that was a very humanizing moment. Because you see his fear when he approaches the stairs, but he sees a bigger goal at hand in trying to figure out if Bruce Willis was right about his prediction about the dude in the coat on having a gun and so on and so forth. And ultimately ends up damn near fracturing his entire body, and so I think once again, the storytelling is what stood out to me in a very unique way. I would align this as a comic book movie more along the lines with, say, Joker than with anything Marvel has put out. As far as the Avengers and Iron Man and so on.
Really quick, to break into that really quick. Yeah. I was actually going to use the same exact words that I used for Joker. When we talked about Joker, you might remember vividly, I spoke a very, very particular phrase that I'm going to use again here. These movies, much like the Joker, are based in reality. They're based in this reality-driven setting and this question of what if they were placed in the daily real struggle, the boring fucking grind of everyday life. What if superheroes were plopped into that? And this is that. And you see Glass, like, you're a protector. You had the chance to do anything in the world. What did you do? You chose to protect people, even if it's on a small time.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing. I was emphasizing your point. Like, yeah, his speech to him about why he chose security, why he chose to be a security guard over everything else. Anything else he could have done. He had degrees. He's a smart man, like not a dumb man at all.
Yeah.
He could have chose to continue to pursue his football career, but instead he chose to settle down and create a family and be a security guard and do his thing that way. And you're right. Like, there were a lot of, I would say if you weren't a big comic book reader, this is a great movie to break you into kind of the theology of how comic books are written. To an extent. Now, mind you, this isn't an A to Z course that you can take and to go write yourself a comic book. But a lot of Glass's dialogue is a lot about explaining the theology behind comic books and how people create certain villains and certain. And I have this feeling that this entire 3-movie set is going to kind of be a testament to more so to comic book theology than to any in particular comic book itself.
Yeah.
Which is
not specifically pertaining to anything, but really heading the classic mold of what we look for in a superhero story, is what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit more toned down version of Watchmen. Like Watchmen was that same type of like
dialed up to fucking 13.
Right. It was more of an like analytical, like comic books looking at themselves in the mirror type, type story written. But like you said, it was just amped up. You had those over the top heroes like the Comedian and Hawkman, and you had all the
Manhattan
characters
and all that shit.
Right. Whereas Unbreakable,
you have Bruce Willis, who doesn't even have a superhero name.
Right. He's just David Dunn.
Exactly.
Like the villain has a name, but the villain was given a name for a logical reason. That's one thing I do love about the character is that
it's not his villain name. It's his childhood joke name.
Right. It's not like, well, I'll say this isn't Dr. Horrible. You're not seeing that type of villain being made. But there was a completely logical reason for them to call him Mr. Glass. For sake. The kid was born with broken arms and legs from his mom. Like, that blew my mind. I was just like, I turned to my girl. I'm like, so because she's seen the movie a bunch of times. I'm like, so what happened with
what's his fucking power?
Like, what did they try? Did they yank the baby out? Like, she's like, no, just naturally, like the uterus contracting just crushed his little arms out. Oh shit, that's some fucked up shit. That's some shit that can have you waking up in the morning going, why me? Like, I can understand why dude didn't want to go out. Like when his mom was sitting there, like, but you got to go outside. No, he don't. He don't ever have to go outside again.
Yeah, fuck that.
The world is a dangerous place when all you got to do is bump into a wall and you can literally break your collarbone.
like yeah. The end. Good night. Flatline.
and once again, another thing with it in that same vein is it gives you a logical reason for him to hate the world. It gives you a very standout logical reason. Like, dude, like y'all can walk up and down stairs without breaking your foot. That's a good enough reason to be angry at the world. Like other people can do normal shit that you can't do. Like, you know, people that have diseases that hold them inside, I understand why they're a little bit angry at the world. Because you watch stuff like that and it's true. Like, well, fuck,
it's like,
dude, I
fucking ouch, like man.
You.
Yeah.
You know, so, or I just want to do the type of things you can. So,
right.
But,
I see that, man.
For the first movie of a trilogy, it was very well written, very well done.
I agree. I have one final big point on the movie. What are we looking like for our break? I was gonna say, you want to run a break?
Go ahead and take the break now. Yeah. So, all right, y'all. So y'all know what y'all listening to, the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the 4 Aces Presents Radio Network. It's K-Double and your boy Alpha here, which talking this Falcon the Winter Soldier, and right now we're talking about Unbreakable. But what we're gonna do right this second is take a podcast promo break, and we'll be right back in about 30 seconds to 2 minutes to talk more Unbreakable with you and dive into some other stuff. And we're back. I hope y'all enjoyed that break there. Listening, checking out the 4 Aces roster for you YouTube folks, and for listening to them, you know, the podcast and Ghost of the Stratosphere and them other boys out there for the audio listeners here. But thank you for joining us. So getting into your final point about Unbreakable.
There we go. So my final point with Unbreakable here is that much with a mix of what I talked about earlier, where we have this almost sense of irony between the hardcore and the casual crowd watching this movie, where the hardcore might have an understanding of some knowledge that the casual does not.
Right.
There's also this tactic with the movie that is taken much like what was used with Thanos. You build up your villain not as an anti-villain, but a sympathetic villain.
Yeah.
And that is a relatable villain, a character that has some amount of loss, some amount of humility, or some sense of relatability.
Yeah.
And so whereas you have Thanos, who is fatherly to Gamora, and they even confirm it that, you know, the closest thing that Thanos has ever felt to true pain was when he lost Gamora.
Yeah.
Because that's, even if it was a twisted, abusive love, Mantis confirmed that it was still love. And it creates this sense of sympathy with Thanos. And as you see, you know, the destruction of his planet and many other things, you have a lot of reasons to sympathize with Thanos. Maybe not empathize, but you can sympathize and feel sorry for him.
Right.
Mr. Glass is much taken the same way, with also a mix of the fact that Sam Jackson is Sam fucking Jackson. It's also like, and that's not even a joke, because at the end of the day, it's like you see Mr. Glass played by Sam Jackson, and suddenly you like Mr. Glass just a little bit more, right? Maybe a lot, but at least you like Mr. Glass just a little bit more, because if he wasn't played by someone other than Sam Jackson, it might be slightly different, because everybody fucking loves Sam Jackson. And this has an end game, I promise. Listen to me here. And so you get down to the end where you've built Mr. Glass up as a sympathetic character, as someone you can relate to, because we've all been pushed around in our lives at some point. We've all been the black sheep kid. We've all been the ugly duckling at some point. And so you see Mr. Glass treated that way, whereas what do you see with David Dunn? You see the football star, the badass, the guy who willingly gave up that spotlight. And then you have Mr. Glass, who is, no, I don't want to go outside. Why? Nope. Not because his powers are too strong or people have an understanding of that when he has a football career, because he's sad of he's afraid of breaking in half when he goes outside, right? Mm-hmm. And so this all comes down to where we have this twist, and hardcore fans have all of these reasons to believe that Mr. Glass is most definitely going to be the villain. He's going to be the twist, right? But you don't want him to be.
Right.
And neither does David.
Yeah.
When it happens, David's instinct isn't, I'm going to kick your ass for what you did, or I need to fucking kill you, or this or that. It is pure, unadulterated sadness. Mm-hmm. He's destroyed, and he just walks out emotionally fucked, and he just calls the cops, and the cops apprehend him. He doesn't even do it himself.
Yep.
It creates this idea that he has every reason for him to be the villain, and he's Sam Jackson. You don't want him to be the villain, you know? You don't want him to be the villain, but that's how this story goes. He's the opposite, and he was always going to be the villain. And that's exactly what Mr. Glass says at the end.
I think a very
that's the story there. Sorry, go ahead.
I think a very telling scene of the intensity and the duality of Mr. Glass is when he's talking to the dude. Pretty much the very first scene we see him as an adult, and he's talking to the gentleman at the art gallery, and he's talking to the gentleman about the particular thing that was that was the drawing for the cover of the first comic book his mom gave him. And he's talking to the guy, and then at the end of it, the guy's like, "Yeah, my son's gonna love this." And he's like, "How old is your son?" He's like, 4. He's like, "Do you see Teletubbies up in here? You see? No, this is not for children." Like, no. He's like, "You in here buying art for a toddler? No, get out of here. Get out of here." And I was just like, wow, dude, like, dude takes his comic book seriously. Like,
yeah.
but at the end of the day, you're right. Like, they made Glass a very sympathetic victim and somebody that anybody could relate to. Whereas Dunn was a little bit harder to relate to, because you have this man his wife comes to his door, knocks on his door, and is basically begging him to be back together with her. Like most of us dudes know, like, that's not the way that shit goes down.
It's not.
That's just not the way this shit goes down. So, like, but at the end of the day, he focuses on being a good father, and that's his key thing to life, is he wants to be somebody that his son can be proud of. Like in that whole story arc, I enjoyed throughout the movie, you know, and the story arc kind of coming to fruition with him, like you said, showing his son the article in the newspaper and kind of being like,
you were right, yeah,
you were right, kid, you know. And so but I got to give it to him. One of the most intense scenes I've seen since watching American History X was the scene when his son came out with that gun and was ready to pop a cap in Pop's ass just to prove to him that he was a superhero. Like, nah, Dad, I
You're
got
real.
you.
I promise.
Don't worry about it, Pops. You gonna live. Okay, I promise you. Dad, now listen to me. You just got to take one to the gut. You'll be all right, though. I promise you, ain't never been hurt.
Look, yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
And then also, I love the finale or the resolution to that scene of him being like, "I'm your dad. Put that down now," you know, and that kind of being the end of subject. Like, look, I don't care what's going on in your head right now, kid. You're not gonna shoot me.
Cut the gun down. Shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
like, no, you've talked about it before. You can literally see him transition from, "Okay, son, please put the gun down," to, "I'm going to use my dad voice. Put the fucking gun down."
Now, don't get me wrong. In a black household, that little boy would have had the shit beat out of him after that. even if Dad was unbreakable, that little boy's ass would not be. Okay, you pulled a gun on your father. Go get the switch and don't get a small one, or else it's gonna be bad.
If you're gonna shoot me, you better do it in one shot. Because if you don't kill me, I'm coming back.
I'm gonna beat your ass. Oh man! But at the end of the day, the once again, movie's well written, very good storytelling. Loved everything about it. M. Night Shyamalan, you kind of redeemed yourself with me with this movie after how you destroyed Avatar: The Last Airbender series, and I mean destroyed it. Don't stay away from it. You touch it again. Speaking of, have you heard about Avatar Studios?
I have not. What's going on?
Yeah, it's evidently a division of Nickelodeon.
Oh wait, yeah, I completely sorry that messed with me. Yeah, they're their own studios now. It's its own, not IP, but it's its own team working on the subject matter, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. So let's hope to see good things come from them. Let's hopefully maybe they can work their way into having a hand on this live action version that's supposed to be coming to Netflix. Let's hope.
Please. Let's hope this is the best timeline.
Yeah.
Let's hope this is the good timeline.
So but at the end of the day, I think that we got a winner. I can't wait to watch Split next week, because I've actually heard McAvoy deserved a damn Oscar for his role in Split. So can't wait to watch that movie. But we'll wrap.
Performance. I'm real excited.
We'll wrap that up for right now.
Okay.
Definitely give it our Cheap Pop podcast stamp of approval. Watch Unbreakable. If you have a chance, all day, watch it. If you haven't seen it,
be ready. Be ready for ensuing reviews of the series as we continue with the comic sides of our show here.
Yep. All right. So the next movie is kind of a just personal review. I don't know if Alpha's had a chance to see it yet or not.
I have not. So I'm interested to hear your take on this before I get my hands on it.
I watched this week, or actually just today, like a few hours ago, after watching Unbreakable, I watched Coming to America 2.
Real fast. Do you know when this one came out? Like what year?
What, Coming to America or Unbreakable?
2.
Coming to America 2 came out this year. Came out like March 5th. Yeah, the beginning of this month.
I was not privy to that. Please.
It's only on Prime.
Completely, and then that makes sense. Then
it's only
that makes
on
a lot of sense. Okay, well, I just got a hold of Prime, so I'll watch that soon. Then I'm sorry, I'll let you continue.
It is a free movie on Prime too. It's one that comes with the Prime membership.
Okay.
All right. So here you go. Here you go. So basically, the movie opens up. We're brought back to Zamunda. Where now he's still, for some odd reason, 30 years later, he's still Prince Jaffe. And he's married to
not king
Princess.
somehow, right?
Yeah. Well, that does happen before the movie's over, but
yeah.
But yeah, so like he's still married to Lisa. For some odd reason, the girl that he left in the room hopping and barking like a dog is still there. Why? I don't know. Like he didn't marry her, but she's still a part of the Zamunda family. Like
I don't know if I consider that a plot hole or not.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a plot hole or not.
He now has. Well, actually, she does tie in the villain of the movie, which is Wesley Snipes. He's supposed to play. He plays the king of another nation. And bro, every scene that Wesley Snipes is in is one of the best scenes in the movie. Like just
for real.
Wesley Snipes is so fucking hilarious in this movie, man. Like, and oh god, I can't remember the dude. Okay, you've seen Wild 'N Out, right?
Yeah.
Masterson or Blackson, the black dude, the African dude.
I'm
Blackson,
blanking, dude.
It's something Blackson. I know his name.
Is it?
He's in Coming to America, and he introduces Eddie McMahon. They'll have you on the floor, but they bring back the great. They bring back all the great characters. They bring back Arsenio Hall as Eddie Murphy's sidekick. They bring back James Earl Jones as the king.
Oh my god, yes. Yes.
They bring back the same actress that played Lisa, the girl, his love interest in the first movie, is his wife in this movie. They introduced 3 new characters and his daughters. And so basically what it is that James Earl Jones dies. Hakeem's supposed to be taking over as the king of Zamunda, but here comes Wesley Snipes threatening war with Zamunda if he doesn't have like either one of his daughters marry Wesley Snipes' son, or if he had a son, like he only has 3 daughters, he can have him marry his daughter, who I think is like Rihanna or somebody like that, right?
Oh, okay.
And so he finds out through his father right before he dies that he does have a son. He has a bastard son in America. And come to find out, right, that the sequence in the original Coming to America where they're out every night partying looking for his one true love before they meet the girl, before they meet Lisa at McDowell's. Supposedly during that sequence, Arsenio Hall introduces Eddie Murphy to Leslie Jones. And Leslie Jones
my fucking God.
has a one-night stand with him, and has a son.
God damn it.
Yeah. And so he goes to America, he brings them back, and it's all about this guy's transformation and all this. But there's this scene where the son is performing, if you've ever heard it before, Prince's song Get Off, with Wesley Snipes' daughter. And it's A+ scene to watch.
That's so fucking good.
But overall, I enjoyed it. Like some of my favorite scenes came in Prince Joffrey, or not King Joffrey, Hakeem's father, or James Earl Jones' character in the movie, when he dies. It's so damn funny because he's like, well, I'm dying, so let's go ahead and do my funeral now and get this shit over with, right? And so like Morgan Freeman's like narrating his funeral, talking about like after he died, people didn't do anything anymore. Like people stopped fucking, people stopped like it's just great, dude. Right. And then in the tail end of the scene, he calls Eddie Murphy over and he's like, okay, son, now it's time for me to die. I want you to take over the kingdom. And he's like, what? Yeah, yeah, right, Dad. And he's like, and like dies right there. And Eddie Murphy's like,
you're very funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but it's just one of those classic scenes. It had the classic Eddie Murphy comedy. The music was off the hook. Like they did this whole bit when they were doing King Joffrey's funeral, where they did In Vogue and In Vogue and Salt and Pepper, but they were performing What a King instead of What a Man.
That's so fucking good. That's so fucking good.
They had Gladys Knight singing on a midnight train. Damn, I'm trying to remember the name of it's not Wakanda. Damn it. I'm trying to blank on the name of the country that they're in. Zamunda.
Zamunda. I was gonna say we just said it.
Yeah, instead of singing Midnight Train to Georgia, she sings Midnight Train to Zamunda.
Zamunda.
Yeah. So like, yeah, but it's got a bunch of other great things like that. And they bring back Sexual Chocolate at the end. Sexual Chocolate. Everybody.
It's too good.
Yeah, but so overall, I definitely give the movie A. Maddie, I should have her review it on camera just to play it on the show because it's hilarious. She thinks it was a good movie, but she doesn't think it was as funny as the first one. Which bless her little heart. I love her. Like, and she's right.
I'm curious.
Like, it's definitely not as funny as the first one.
I'm curious. I know she's got some strong opinions.
Yeah. Her mother had her watch both movies back to back. So she said she liked the first one better. So Fair. She thought it was more funny. But
it's been interesting to watch it like that then. I might try like that.
It definitely is a love letter to those who love the original movie big time.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, ironically enough, like in that same light, I have been watching a few different movies with casts, including Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes separately. Ironically enough, just to contribute anything that I can. Like, I am once again reminded how fucking good of an actor both of them are. And I recently sat my girlfriend down and forced her to watch White Men Can't Jump with me.
Oh my God. That's the movie right now.
Right.
You can listen to Jimmy, but you can't hear Jimmy.
There it is. Like, literally thinking about that. You can listen to him, but you can't hear him.
Oh man,
so good.
Yeah. That movie made me fall in love with Woody Harrelson. That was my first man crush right there.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson, man. And Rosie Perez too. I love her in that movie. She's so awesome. If you can go on to Facebook and look for White Kids Can't Jump. And it's like they redo the scene from the park, except the Wesley Snipes is like a dude that's like 9-10 years old, and then Woody Harrelson is too. But yet they're out here like schooling these grown ass men, like do. So like, it's just something funny to check out in the vein of White Men Can't Jump. But yeah, that's a great movie. Like, it's definitely a great movie to watch.
Yeah, man. But in my watching of that movie, I was reminded, like, fucking God, Wesley Snipes in his prime was a god hand of a fucking actor, and need to go back and watch more of his shit, and Woody too.
I don't know if you've ever watched New Jack City, but if you haven't, you're at an age where I think you would really appreciate it. New Jack City is one of those gritty fucking hood, like, it will blow your mind. Like, wow, dude. Like, if I'll say it like this, if you liked what American History X, and not because of subject matter, there's not a lot of similar subject matter between the two, but if you like the way that American
the
History
approach
X,
and the presentation,
then you'll like New Jack City. So,
I'm into that. I'll come back to you on that. I'll come back to you when I check that shit out.
You really want to see Wesley's range as an actor. Check out New Jack City. And what's funny is that you'll see, like, wow, like you said, this dude can really act. Like, he can act his ass off. Yeah. It makes sense why he's consistently worked in Hollywood for like over 2 decades. Well, actually, hold up, almost 3 decades, minus a full decade where he had to disappear because he didn't pay his taxes.
Tax evasion moment. Fucking
didn't come back until Expendables, but it's all good, Wesley. We love you anyway, and keep on doing you, man. Hell of an actor.
Blade.
All right, so before we close this out, let me give a quick rundown for y'all who haven't been watching. Flash. If you haven't seen the first 3 episodes of this season of Flash, you must tune in. So far, Barry has lost his speed twice and gotten it back twice. They've created an artificial speed force, and they've already stopped one like world-threatening villain, and we're only 3 episodes in. So the Flash, the Flash has gotten really, really good. The same thing with Batwoman. This season of Batwoman, ironically, like, it's surrounded a lot around the more emotional side of building this character. And to me, it kind of felt like a revamp of season 1, even though season 2 is not over yet. It kind of felt like a revamp of season 1 because we were getting to know the main character again, And so while we're seeing all these other characters around her fully develop, You know, she's like in her fledgling stages of developing, and it feels like she's to an extent being rushed. But we'll see how they play out season one. So far, so good. So far, so good. Black Lightning has been a revelation. I love that show. I'm so sad to see it go. But here's what I've gotten out of the first like 5 or 6 episodes of Black Lightning. The CW are some cold-hearted motherfuckers. They are straight up cold-hearted. The actress, I can't think of her name, who plays Jen Lightning, the youngest daughter on Black Lightning, had announced prior to this season that she was going to be leaving the show. And I was like, well, wow, like, I wonder if they're going to send her off, like, if they're just going to kill her off and, like, send her off and all this shit. And I think I talked to you guys about this last week where they were bringing back her body parts, where they were bringing back all the shit, and they did a quick nod to The Flash. They did what I call a no-view cameo. Okay, and what I mean by that is this. The Flash basically... So basically, they kill off the original Jen. She flies up into the ionosphere and explodes, right? So Black Lightning has to fly up into the ionosphere and go collect all of the particles that are still left of her and bring them down to put them into this machine so that they can metastasize and
stitch the shit back together, right?
Right. And so they do it, but here's the nod to the Flash is that they're like, we need this one device, and he's like, okay. And he's like, well, where can we get it? And they're like, well, the closest place that we can get it is Star Labs in Central City. And they're like, he's like, Star Labs. He's like, wait a minute. Oh, I thought I can get it from Star Labs. And they're like, but you'll never get back here in enough time. He goes, don't worry, I can have it here in a flash. And he walks off, right? And here I thought like the next scene was going to show like Grant Justine making some kind of appearance and like dropping off the device to him and like, here, if you ever need my help. But no, they just came back and all of a sudden they had the device. And so I was like, oh, so it was a non-view cameo. Like they let you know who was about to show up, but they didn't yet. So, but needless to say,
you insinuated that he was going to show up, had him show up, and give it to him just without showing me.
Yeah,
quite literally, by definition, a no-view cameo.
Yeah. So perfect. Okay. So they go up, they get Jen's whatchamacallit, they bring it all down, they put on this machine, they're putting her all together. She finally, this last week, comes out of the chamber. Her thing gets 100% reconstituted. And of course, when Jen comes out of the tube, she's a completely different actress. Now, she's a completely different look, but with all of Jen's memories. So she knows who everybody is. She knows what everybody does. She knows that she has powers. She knows how to use them. Like the whole shebang.
Slick motherfucker, because the Speed Force is powered by the multiverse. God fucking damn it, that's slick.
But so it was just hilarious to me. But Black Lightning is getting better. It's like I said, it sucks that it's going to be its last season. But the breakout hit to me, aside from Young Rock of this television season, has been Superman and Lois. The storytelling in that particular fucking show is amazing. I cannot put into words how well this show is written. It gives us not just Superman the hero, but Superman the man that's trying to balance being a father and being a hero. You know, and kind of like the same struggle with David Dunn in Unbreakable. You know, but Superman's powers are fully realized. It's a very, very like she's trying to balance being a husband. He's trying to balance being a father. He's trying to balance being Superman, the man that saves the world, you know, and it's just, it's an interesting situation where the dichotomy between him and his sons is very unique. Because like I said, one of them has powers, one of them doesn't. There's a whole thing with the one that has powers now playing for the football team. And wrecking shop out there, of course. But it's just so well written. I can't state that enough. Like everything about the show and how it's written is so well written. The use of Superman, it's not like every episode is about Superman facing some big villain. Like every episode gives you a little bit of a little bit of a little bit of these stories that you're going to watch unfold throughout these next episodes. And so because of that, I would have to say, like I said, if I have to give it, once this is all over with, if I have to give my nod to any one of these comic book shows as pretty much the best show this season, so far it would have to be Superman and Lois.
Okay.
With Flash as a close second and Black Lightning is a very, very close third.
If I'm not mistaken, Superman and Lois is completely outside of the CW, right?
I want to say yeah, but remember,
they canonized a lot of shit.
they canonized a lot of shit, and remember, the Crisis on Infinite Earths brought everybody to the same Earth.
Okay.
So they're in Smallville, but they're in Smallville on Earth Prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like that focus. I do like the approach of giving Superman stories in a much more much less of a bigger picture and a little bit more specific onto the different stories that Superman can run. And I've talked about it before, but Superman is not meant to be a relatable character. It's the story of a god living amongst men. And the best thing that you can do with that is focus on his relationships with the humans then.
Right.
And so that's I think that's the angle running with the show between him and his family, him and Lois, and his approach as Clark Kent, the human being, because he was also raised as Clark Kent. Yep. Right.
Amen.
Yeah.
And it leaves nothing to be desired. Like every angle that you could possibly want taken, it's taken. And like I said, I can't wait to see how they blend all of this into one big universe, because we still have Stargirl coming up soon. We still have Supergirl's final season coming up soon, or at least the final season with Melissa Benoist. I don't think it's going to go on after that. We'll say we have Black Lightning is going to be replaced with a if you've ever seen the first season, the character that they called damn it, not Cyanide, Khalil's character. Khalil was the name of the boy, but he had his spine ripped out by Tobias Well, and it was replaced with like a thing that made his blood kind of poison. And he turned the poison into these little darts that he could throw at people. Painkiller.
Yeah. Painkiller.
He's supposed to be getting his own series, and that's effectively what's going to be replacing Black Lightning in the CW versus the Painkiller series.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Evidently, from what I've heard, the axe has finally been dropped on Arrow and the Canaries. So we won't be seeing that, unfortunately.
Sad.
But like I said, I'm juiced for Stargirl season 2. The young JSA looks like it's going to be a fun ride.
I'll do it.
And like I said, Supergirl's final season, I'm looking forward to. So we still got a lot more going.
We do, yeah, we do.
Sorry. But yeah, so we still got a lot more to look forward to. But I'll just tell anybody that hasn't been watching the CW verse at this point, go ahead and jump in.
Man.
Even if you've never seen anything over the past few seasons, still jump in because it's worth it. The stories that are being told are great. I've always said that DC has an edge on the small screen, whereas Marvel has the edge on the big screen. And
true.
DC is continuing to push that mantle forward, even though Marvel's trying to close the gap with these WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki. They're trying to close that gap, but the CW verse is still very well fleshed out and very true. And the writers and the people that write for Bertinelli, I think, is the guy that produces most of the shows. The people that write for him are very good writers, and they understand comics and they understand how to tell stories. So I don't see any lack of success for the CW verse coming at any point.
Yeah. CW writes itself as one interweaving, very connected, very deep web of not just the shows and its own singular IPs, but all of the characters that move in between them. You know what I mean? I agree with that.
All right, guys. Did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. I was just about to say that should be coming up on our wrap up, right?
Yeah. So I got one last question for you. All right, here's it goes. With WWE Fastlane being today actually going right now, even though we're recording this on Saturday. As you're watching this or hearing this, it'll be going right now.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be watching it? I'm going to be watching it on Peacock. But where are you going to be watching it? On the network? On Peacock?
I think I'm gonna. I think my final pay-per-view with the network is going to be this one, just for old time's sake, just as one last kiss goodbye before we walk into our ungodly fucking just this 4-day spiel of content that we're going to rip into. So this is my final kiss goodbye to the network before I give my heart and money to Peacock for a few months.
All right, so to be sure to tune in with us next week on Sunday as we review Fastlane. We talk a little AEW. We're gonna record a little earlier in the week, but we'll definitely be there for you guys on Sunday with the podcast and on Monday with the YouTube show. And then thanks for joining us this week. And let's see, next week, like I said, is wrestling. 2 weeks we'll be talking Zack Snyder cut. So we got 2 weeks to get that watched.
The whole fucking time.
Yep. We got 2 weeks to get that watched, and then we'll give you guys our deep, in-depth review on that. And till then, Alpha, any last words for the people?
Oh, you know how it goes, my people. Walking into the next few months of entertainment, my final prediction for Godzilla versus King Kong is that it's going to end when they find out that their mother has the same name. Please.
Oh no, not man. Martha.
Yeah, it is. What'd you say that name for? Mothra. Dude, that's too good. All right, be safe. I love you, my people.
All Peace. Right, y'all. Take care. That's it for us. Peace out.